Tuesday of the 27th week in Ordinary Time.
A reading from the book of the prophet Jonah. The word of the Lord came to Jonah a second time. Set out for the great city of Nineveh, and announce to it the message that I will tell you. So Jonah made ready and went to Nineveh, according to the Lord's bidding. Now Nineveh was an enormously large city. It took 3 days to go through it. Jonah began his journey through the city and had gone but a single day's walk, announcing, 40 days more, and Nineveh shall be destroyed. When the people of Nineveh believed God, they proclaimed a fast, and all of them, great and small, put on sackcloth. When the news reached the king of Nineveh, he rose from his throne, laid aside his robe, covered himself with sackcloth, and sat in the ashes. Then he had this proclaimed throughout Nineveh. By decree of the king and his nobles, neither man nor beast, neither cattle nor sheep shall taste anything. They shall not eat, nor shall they drink water. Man and beast shall be covered with sackcloth and call loudly to God. Every man shall turn from his evil way and from the violence he has in hand. Who knows? God may relent and forgive and withhold his blazing wrath, so that we shall not perish. When God saw by their actions how they turned from their evil way, he repented of the evil that he had threatened to do to them. He did not carry it out. The word of the Lord.
The responsorial psalm. The response is, If you, O Lord, mark iniquities, who can stand? Out of the depths I cry to you, O Lord. Lord, hear my voice. Let your ears be attentive to my voice in supplication. If you, O Lord, mark iniquities, who can stand? If you, O Lord, mark iniquities, Lord, who can stand? But with you is forgiveness, that you may be revered. If you, O Lord, mark iniquities, who can stand? Let Israel wait for the Lord, for with the Lord is kindness, and with him is plenteous redemption, and he will redeem Israel from all their iniquities. If you, O Lord, mark iniquities, who can stand?
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus entered a village where a woman whose name was Martha welcomed him. She had a sister named Mary, who sat beside the Lord at his feet, listening to him speak. Martha, burdened with much serving, came to him and said, Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me by myself to do the serving? Tell her to help me. The Lord said to her in reply, Martha, Martha, you are anxious and worried about many things. There is need of only one thing. Mary has chosen the better part, and it will not be taken from her. The Gospel of the Lord.
The first reading comes from Jonah 3, 1-10. Yesterday we heard about how Jonah tried to run away from God's will. He went on a ship headed to Tarshish. A great storm comes. The sailors draw lots to figure out whose fault it is, and it falls to Jonah. So they throw him into the sea. He's swallowed by a fish and vomited on the shore. Well, once that happens, God then addresses Jonah a second time. Go to Nineveh and preach to them. And so he does. Now Nineveh is a great city. It takes 3 days to get through it. Before he's traveled 1 day, the people have already called a great penance. They've converted. Now this is the exact thing that Jonah was afraid of. He didn't want the Ninevites to convert because remember, Nineveh was the capital of the Assyrian Empire, and the Assyrians were hated and dreaded by the Jews. They had conquered the northern kingdom and depopulated all the rich and educated people. They had treated Israel with great ferocity. So Jonah wanted to see them punished. He didn't want to see them spared by God's mercy because they had converted. And yet that's exactly what they do. The Gospel is from Luke 10, 38-42. Jesus goes to a village and he stays with Martha and Mary. Now Martha is very practical. She's very busy addressing the needs of hospitality. And hospitality was a very important thing in the ancient world. Whereas Mary just sits there and listens to Jesus. And Martha's a bit offended by that, a little ticked at her sister. So she goes up to Jesus and said, "Will you tell my sister to help me?" What does Jesus say? That Mary is involved in the more important thing. Now for centuries, that has been used as an explanation of why the contemplative life is better than the active life. The contemplative life is dedicated to service of God alone, and that's superior to an active life. But this could also be read as a simple lesson in hospitality, that so often we get caught up with the hospitality that we forget the guest. Just think of our preparations for Christmas. We work to clean our house, to make a million types of Christmas cookies, to decorate the house perfectly, to have a perfect Christmas, and then we get in fights with our own family members because we're exhausted and we don't have the patience. Maybe we should do a little less and enjoy the people in front of us a little bit more. And may God bless us.